InObscuria!
Welcome back, my friends, to the InObscuria podcast, a podcast where we exhume obscure rock and punk and metal, and we put them in one of three categories: the lost, the forgotten, or the should-have-beens. My name is Kevin Williams, and I'm joined today by, let's see, who do we have today?
Over here.
Yes,
me,
you.
Me,
you.
me,
I'll
me.
pick you, sir.
Nice.
Robert Harrison.
Yes. So happy to be paid.
Come on down.
I am bringing the funk today. Not the good funk, though. I don't know if you noticed.
I don't know that it's that
hot.
episode.
It is hot
It is
outside.
hot. It is hot in Atlanta.
And I just got through cleaning my workshop, and I'm filthy and I'm funky, but I think that puts me in a really good mood because I don't know what the subject's going to be. I never know what the subject's going to be, but I'm going to channel that filthiness and that dirtiness into whatever we talk about today.
Well, I like it, and we'll see how it aligns with today's theme. We'll see if you are aligned with the stars. But before that, make sure you go listen to these other podcasts that we also like. The Dummy Room, Pot of Thunder, Decibel Geek, Podcast Rock City, Cobras and Fire, Growing Up Rock, and I just want to give a shout out to Sonny and Steven at Growing Up Rock. They just had me on their show to play a little game. And
how'd you do? Better than I did? Because I was 0.
Well, I think I got 3 points.
You got 3 more than 0.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I'm doing better on these game shows, but I'm still the worst player of all time, nice. I believe.
Hey, you know what? You got a niche.
That's what I told them. I had to keep up my appearances. I get a participation trophy. That's what I go for.
You get a little badge, a little ribbon.
Mm-hmm. Also, listen to the Slam Fest podcasts, the Lipstick Panel, Rock Strikes 10, Kisstory Science Theater, Podkiss, The Kiss Room, I Love It Loudcast, Ages of Rock, and Monty's Rockcast. Come visit us at InObscuria.com. Like us, share us, recommend us, do all the stuff on social. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We're out there. And with that, let's talk about today's theme. Did I reach out to the other world? Did I go down to the crypt and exhume something? Nope, I didn't.
No, you're too clean for that.
No, I didn't do any of that. Sorry. It sounded good, though.
It sounded good, yeah.
It was a good intro.
Good adventure. Sounds like it'd be nice and cool down in the crypt these days.
No, I think I'm going with exactly what you're feeling right now. It is summer. It is summertime. It's hot.
God, it's hot. 98 degrees.
I have a 7-year-old and an 8-year-old, and we're finally able to send one of them to a camp. We're getting one out of the house, and one's still there. It makes me think back to those summers that I was at home when I was a kid, those summers that I went to camp, and it made me think about all the things I did in what I thought was such a boring little town, and I guess it was. It was a boring little town that I grew up in.
It was quaint.
Yeah, okay. It was a boring little town that I grew up in, and so you had to really find things to do and get in trouble. And back then, that was the 1980s, so you could get away with hopping on your bike in the morning. Your parents may not even be up yet.
Nope.
You're on your bike out in the streets, out in the woods, playing in the creek with snakes and whatever else is around, and you don't come home until dinner time.
Having lunch at the Jiffy Mart convenience store around the corner.
Those were the days.
Yes.
Our parents didn't care anything about where we were. They just knew that we'd probably show up when we were hungry.
And that was the rule. Be home by dinner. Not lunch. Like, whatever. You're on your own for lunch. You can get a burger, whatever you want. Eat something on the side of the road. But got to be home by dinner time.
But looking back on it, man, those were good times.
Absolutely.
I loved being home over the summer. And when you were young, those summers seemed to last forever. At least that was the way I remembered it.
That was a good.
As you got older, those summers went by really quickly. And then I remember around middle school time is when, my dad was basically saying, you're not going to sit around here. You're not old enough to go out and get a job, but you're not going to sit around here all day. So he put me to work, and every day if I wasn't pulling weeds or cutting grass or doing something to the house or washing cars, that's what I did. And what got me through all of that was my discovery of rock and punk and metal. I listened to a lot of tapes on my Walkman.
On your Walkman, yes.
And you'd have to really blast it and distort it to hear over the lawnmower.
They weren't that loud.
They were not
tiny
that
headphones
loud.
they had.
Yeah. So all that being said, it just got me thinking. So we're going to do a little nostalgia program today. We're going to do episode 36, 80s rock and punk and metal time capsule, volume 2. Give me a little summertime for you.
The first day of summer, I think it was right after junior high. My dad woke me up about 8 o'clock in the morning, kicking the bed, and goes, "Oh, by the way, here's a list of people that I gave your name to and said that you would mow their yard for like $5." And back then, that was still not a lot of money.
That's not a lot. No,
Maybe
I was making $50 a
No,
yard.
maybe it was like 10, but it wasn't a lot. And it was a push mower. And this was Florida in the summertime, yards that had not been mowed frequently. And so guess what you had? Fire ants.
Oh, yeah.
And you didn't see them until you ran over them. And so that was my job. I did that, but I'll be damned. I made enough money to buy a car. That and I think my first car was a long story on that. But yeah, I saved up enough from mowing yards and odd jobs. So I'm glad he did it. But God, that sucked because you had that dream that first day of summer, you're going to wake up and you're going to get on that bike. And those days are over. You're old enough to work. He wasn't about to have me sitting around the house. But yeah, that freedom, there's nothing like it. I still have my motorcycle that I got. You know what it is.
You do.
My Honda CT70 that I got when I was 12 years old. And we live near the woods.
Please post a picture.
I got it running last week again. I haven't driven it in a couple of years. And I cleaned out the car, got it running. I got it up to 40 miles an hour on the road with no helmet. It was glorious.
You had to look like the scene from Dumb and Dumber.
Oh,
when
totally.
that little thing.
Totally. And it was like it's shaking at 40 miles an hour. You think you're going to break the sound barrier.
That's
But no,
awesome.
that was that freedom you're talking about. Then all of a sudden it just comes to a grinding halt.
Yep.
And then after that, I worked most summers by I as a preemptive strike, so I wouldn't have to mow yards. I started restoring Volkswagens, and I would buy a Volkswagen for $100 or $150, and I would restore it over the summertime, and then I would turn around and sell it to one of my friends in high school, and I would make, I don't know, anywhere from $800 to $1,000, which was more than I could make working at Burger King all summer.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that summer vibe. I mean, right now, I don't notice the difference between spring and summer. It's just hotter now. I still have some freedom, but not that kind of freedom that you're talking about. Just let's go do things and then...
Yeah, it's one of those things that it passes, right?
It does.
You just don't get to revisit that.
Your friends start having to do things. Y'all start growing up. But the time of the summertime, you would literally meet out in the middle of the street. And what do you want to do? I don't know. And things would happen. You didn't have to have a plan.
Yeah.
Things just happened. You had adventures.
We didn't have cell phones. We
No.
didn't have ways of getting in touch with each other other than just memorizing somebody's phone
number
and calling them. But that was basically it.
So
So what about music for you in the summer? Because I always equate certain songs with summertime, and that really got me through those kind of teen years where I was working. It was still summertime. You're still having fun because it's summertime. You're out of school, so you don't have to deal with that. But even if you're working, you got the music in the background. What were you rocking then?
Well, 2 or 3 songs that stand out. Early on, I remember Journey. For some reason, I had their cassette.
This is the second episode, or maybe even the third episode you've brought Journey up here.
Yeah, I brought up Neil Sean the other day. But yeah, that was just because I had that cassette. I remember it. But then there was Van Halen with Sammy Hagar. I can't remember the name. Was it
5150?
5150. Hot Summer Nights.
Yeah.
And I'm driving my Camaro with the 2 12-inch pile drivers in the back and my little equalizer on the dashboard, my amplifier, blasting that song out. That was summertime. And then, of course, the infamous incident of summertime getting arrested by going over 125 miles an hour in that same Camaro, listening to In the Air Tonight. So those 3 songs will always be burned into my brain for summer songs.
Well, and for me, very similar. I was cutting lawns and doing basically manual yard work, and I was making, just gobs of money doing that, more so than any of my friends who had jobs at restaurants or whatever
9 to 5
else.
jobs, yeah.
And I bought my Pearl export kit when I was 16 just from cutting yards, and that was a big investment for me at the time because it was just under $1,000 for all of that stuff.
Yeah, that's
and
a
that's
big
a
chunk
lot.
of money.
And that's the kit I still have today. It's the same kit. I got it when I was 16 years old, and that's the reason I became a drummer because no one else in my little town ponied up to get a kit. I was going to be a bass player or a guitarist.
Mm-hmm.
And
those are a dime a dozen. $150 gets you a guitar.
Everybody had a guitar. Nobody had a drum kit, so I got a drum kit, and that's how I became a drummer.
And plus, having a place to practice. Most parents don't let their kids be a drummer because they don't want to listen to that racket.
True.
So
God bless my parents.
Exactly. Yeah. They have some serious patience.
They later told me, and it makes a lot of sense. They said, we knew where you were, in our little town. The reason we did that is because we knew where you and your buddies were. Now, they didn't know they were walking out the back and smoking dope. But, hey.
Brandon. We know who.
But anyway. And then for me, summertime, because I was listening to music all the time, it was just a time of discovery for me. That's where I started really branching out and get into all sorts of different types of music and different types of bands. And so I just thought we'd go into some of the things that I was listening to or I may have heard of on the radio at the time back in the day. Let's kick it off. We're going to go to 1982. And this is a Canadian band from Toronto, formed in 1981, and the name of the band is Coney Hatch.
Mm-mm.
No?
No.
Don't remember hearing any Coney Hatch on the radio?
Not in Fort Walton Beach, Florida, no.
No. Well, I would expect that in Canada and Northeast, that these, and maybe even the Midwest, that this band
I'm kind of surprised. We had a lot of Canadian
bigger.
Snowbirds down there. You think they would have brought it with
true.
them?
That's true. Well, they were probably, 30 years too old.
A little older, yeah.
But anyway, so Coney Hatch, they released an album in 82 that I'm going to play from, produced by Kim Mitchell, and you may remember that name. He was in a band called Max Webster. So on our Rush episode, we played a song that Rush was with another band that they toured with, and they did a song, and that was Max Webster. So the main guitarist, singer for Max Webster produced Coney Hatch. So kind of like a Canadian royalty of big bands here. They opened for Iron Maiden on the Peace of Mind tour. They opened for Judas Priest on the Screaming for Vengeance tour. So this band had exposure. Like I said, I think it's just where we live regionally, we just weren't exposed to them. And I do remember hearing it a few times on the radio station. It was one of those late night plays. So they only released 3 albums in the 80s, and in the 90s, the singer, Carl Dixon, joined other famous Canadian bands. He was the lead singer for the Guess Who for a little bit, and he was the lead singer for April Wine, which is another Canadian band that gets a little bit of play down here. And another thing that's kind of cool about this band is James LaBrie from Dream Theater was brought in to replace Dixon when he left, but it didn't work out, and he would later go on to be in Dream Theater. So probably a good choice.
Good choice, yeah. Fate was kind.
But I'm going to play something from their debut album. Now, the song's called, you have to say this right, or else you'd be in trouble if you don't say this right. The song is called Devil's Deck.
Deck, like
as in cards.
Oh, I'm thinking like having a drink out on the back deck.
No, that's where my,
deck.
I was thinking something else. Devil's Deck.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And Canadians up there, eh?
All right. Coney Hatch, 1982. Check it out.
Try to look, gonna make a fast buck. Take all you've got. Hell so hot. She'll drag you down in her demon's gas. Something's up her sleeve. This up you leave like a one-eyed jack. Stick a knife in your back. And there's a devil in a deck. Devil in a deck. There's a devil in a There's a devil in a deck.
I love the late Deep Purple, early White Snake kind of vibe going on. It's got a little bit of leftover from the 70s rock, not quite full on hair metal yet, with some of the cliche stuff they did. So that early, pre-1985 rock era, it's really good. Got really good guitar solos, but it hadn't quite got to the point where it's cliche rock later on. The blues, hair metal stuff that, once again, I like, but it's got a very distinct sound to it. This kind of predates that.
Yeah, it totally reminds me of Hagar before he joined.
I was thinking
Van
that
Halen.
too. A little bit of Hagar on the vocals.
But so I hear that. Yeah, I hear that in the vocals, and then the guitar lead is just fantastic.
Yes.
I actually didn't look up the guitarist's name, but man, he's good.
Yeah.
It's really
it's
good.
funny because they've got it on the headphones. We've got a certain level, and then when the solo kicks in,
it's
like
huge.
twice as loud. It's like,
It's
oh,
huge.
hello,
Loved
Mr.
it.
Solo. Why don't you come into the room? Bam.
Yeah, that band's really cool. It's one of those things. I heard the name, and it's a very bizarre name to begin with, so it sticks with you if you hear
Yeah.
it, on the radio. That was Coney Hatchet. What?
Coney Hatchet? No,
Coney
Molly
Hatch.
Hatchet.
I think Molly
Different.
Hatchet.
Yeah. Coney.
Coney Hatch. Okay, next though, we're gonna go back down south, and when I was say 15, 16, I would hear about this mystical, magical place that was not that far from us, but it seemed like it was a long way away. And this was a town called Athens, Georgia.
I was going to say Asheville, but
No, Athens.
a little bit further away. Athens,
And
yes.
There were all these new sounds coming out of Athens at that time that
Weird people.
Yeah, a lot of weird people and freakies, and everybody was really starting to get into that. It was kind of the precursor to what was to come with alternative music in the 90s. And of course, I'm talking about REM and the B-52s, and there was a host of other bands. And there was this band that I heard on the same radio station that I heard Coney Hatch. And in 1985, this band was produced by Peter Buck from REM. He did their first album. And then by 88, they were signed to Arista Records, and they released their most successful album that reached 150 on the Billboard Hot 200, which is a pretty big feat for a band from Athens, Georgia at that time in 88. The band I'm talking about is a band called Dreams So Real. Remember the name at all?
Never.
This was pretty much the only song I ever heard played on the radio, but it's just one of those bands that's pretty much been forgotten. The whole album's good. It's firmly a rock album, but you can sort of put the alternative spin on it. It's not there yet, though. This is 1988, so, and they're definitely not REM. There's not really the quirkiness or weirdness that REM had. I'm actually not a big REM fan, but I appreciate what they did.
I'm the same boat. It's not. I never went out and bought their albums. There's 3 songs that I really like when I hear them. The rest of them, like, it's kind of the same vein as the Beatles. I respect them. They were groundbreaking. They deserve respect. It's just not in my category.
I'd go to the Who or the Stones before the Beatles any day.
Yeah.
For me, or the Kinks. I didn't know what happened to this band, and they're actually still in Athens. So this is kind of cool. I looked up where the guys were now, and Barry Marler. So they had their last album in 1990. They basically had 3 albums, and then they were done. And they've done a couple of reunions. But Barry Marler, who's the guitarist and singer. He is a bioinformatics analyst at the University of Georgia.
Of course he is. Because that's what you do when you retire from playing guitar.
And for anyone who doesn't know, Athens, Georgia, the University of Georgia is in Athens, Georgia. So he works for the university. Trent Allen, the bass player, became a graphic artist and an entrepreneur. He has his own sports memorabilia company. So I'm assuming they do a lot of collegiate type stuff, which is a big deal in that town for sure. And then Drew Worsham is a computer systems analyst. He was the drummer. Now, he was also shot in the face in 2003 in a home invasion and somehow managed to survive it.
What?
And he even got so far with his recovery that he's able to drum again.
Wow.
But he was shot by his then girlfriend's ex. The guy shot him, later killed the girlfriend, and then killed himself. And Drew got away with a shot in the face, but he survived
it.
Which is just crazy. That's absolutely crazy. It has nothing to do with the music, but I thought it was a cool story.
Hey, anytime you survive getting shot in the face, that's a good story.
That's crazy. So I'm going to play the song that, if you've heard of this band, this is probably the song you've heard, but it's a great song, and it's the title track from the album, Rough Night in Jericho. This is Rough Night in Jericho.
Jericho, if the walls fall in, guess I'll be saved by love again. Rough night in Jericho, I stood atop the ancient crumbling wall. I strained to hear the trumpet call. I leaned a bit too far and lost my hold. I fell into the warm, forgiving sand, barely missed the saving hand, and I was crushed beneath the falling wall. Can you hear my heartbeat over the walls calling, walls falling on me? Listen to my heartbeat. Let the cold wind blow. Rough night in Jericho. If the walls fall in, guess I'll be saved by love again. Rough night in Jericho. Even though the walls are falling, I swear I hear the calling now. Hey boy blue, come blow your horn. The bed is made but the sheets are torn. These are the times that try to trap my soul. 1, 2, 3, 4 little girls with foreign names, from Palestine to Portland, Maine, are lined up by the poolside corner. Let the cold wind blow. Rough night in Jericho. If the walls fall in, guess I'll be saved by love. Jericho. Rough night in Jericho. Rough night in Jericho. Rough night in Jericho.
I really like that. I'm pretty sure I've heard that before. I can't place exactly where I heard it, but it sounds familiar. And it may just be that it's got a little bit of a thumbprint from REM on it, and it's got that 80s, I don't want to say it was alternative at the time because this was not mainstream.
Right.
So
it wasn't a hair band.
Right.
It wasn't pop.
Right.
It was somewhere else.
It's somewhere else.
It wasn't punk.
And I mean, the Church and all those bands like that's what it reminds me of. Some of that music
Sounds more English.
It definitely sounds more English, but I really like it. And you know, I envisioned myself being in a band like that early on because I thought, okay, they're not expecting me to have this shredding guitar solo, which I wasn't that good of a guitar player. You know, I could play, and you know, I wanted to be a singer, but it was just that was what I was thinking of. And then I went off, you know, a little bit further down the field to just a good old rock band, which I enjoyed thoroughly. That's where I needed to be. I would not have been satisfied playing that music. It just seemed like if I could play in a band like that, it would be easy.
Well, this is a little bit like what, not to make it about us, but I am. This is a little bit like what Mercy Beat kind of started as.
We started off like that, little jingly,
a
little poppy, acousticy. But as we all know, I wasn't satisfied with that. I don't think any of us were. We're like, okay, that's good. What's next? And we kept ratcheting it up,
Well, that paid the bills.
It paid the bills. It got us shows, and you know, people listened to it and said they liked it. But no, for me playing, it wasn't satisfying until I was able to turn that distortion up a lot louder and just flail around on stage and just let it all hang out versus being reserved and just singing a song.
They remind me a lot of another band that's from Atlanta, Driving and Crying, which is Kevin Kinney's band.
The lyrics tell a story, and that's sadly missing from a lot of songs these days. They put some lyrics together, the newer songs I'm talking about, that sound like they fit and they kind of rhymed, and that's all it seems like. These songs were a little bit darker, deeper. I mean, Rough Night in Jericho, there was a story behind that. I don't know exactly. Maybe a few more listens I could figure it out. But still, it had me thinking, what is he talking about? What is he singing about?
Yeah.
And so
I'm glad you
I
said,
like that.
I'm glad you said darker because it definitely teeters on the line of that kind of almost going a little bit goth.
Yeah, just a
kind of
little
like
bit.
Mission. When we listen to the Mission UK, you like that stuff a lot. Kind of going down that path, but not all the way. I mean, it's a rock band, but it just had a little bit darker edge to it. And we're going to continue that with the third song, but we're going to go to my punk rock roots and my skateboarding roots here. And this is a band that we've actually played on the show before. However, they had a different name. Same exact band, different name. So one of the original new wave punk bands from LA, original first wave of punk bands, we covered them in our proto-punk episode, which I believe was episode 14. We played a band called the Alley Cats. And it's a band that I discovered later, you know, maybe in probably the 2000s I discovered the Alley Cats. But they had some really great music. It was very original, but they only had 2 albums as the Alley Cats. They were in a British film called A Music War. So if you can go catch that somewhere, I don't know if it's streaming or not, but it's called A Music War, and it has everybody from the Police to it's everybody that was in the scene, X, all the bands that were considered new wave or proto-punk or punk bands from the late 70s, early 80s. Anyway, they were featured in that and released 2 albums, and then they kind of went away for a couple of years, and then they come back, and they are this band that we're about to play called, and they did this to get more appeal. So they changed their name to the Zarkons.
Oh, jeez. What? Zarkons. Cubic
The
zirconium.
Zarkons. It sounds like a really bad
They
science
were really
fiction.
high when they thought, oh man, that's
I
the
do
best
believe
name
they
ever.
were. Yeah. I do
Oh
believe
yeah,
they
that's going
were.
to be totally killer. Yeah.
The name of the album is Kick-Ass. The name of the album is Riders in the Long Black Parade.
Sounds
That's
like a
cool.
My Chemical Romance song.
Well, this was 1985, so yeah. So for some reason, they changed their name in 1984 to the Zarkons. They released 2 albums as the Zarkons. and they go a little bit more new wave. I think they were trying to get a little more mass appeal. The first album's really good, the one that I mentioned, Riders in the Long Black Parade. The second album, not so much. It came out in '88, and they had gone pop and added a backup singer. So they were a power trio, and they added another singer just to do backups for the I don't know. It was a weird album. I think they were doing a little too much cocaine.
They were not the only ones.
So anyway, we're going to play the Zarkons. This is Live Free or Die.
That's pretty cool, but I couldn't get past the weird mix with the vocals being...
I was going to ask you, what was that song about again?
No, it's about being in a concert and standing behind the speakers, like you're backstage. So you hear the band, but you don't know what the hell they're saying. That's exactly what it's about.
It's kind of Randy Stadola, I think that's his last name. He's the guitarist, singer. They're a power trio, but his vocal delivery, even in the Alley Cats, was always kind of mumbles.
Yeah.
So you really have to pay attention to get some of those words.
Dude, enunciate, man. Come on.
Plus, they put a lot of reverb on it. So.
Yeah, that's why it sounded like you were
Very
in the
80s.
You were in the foyer waiting, getting a drink at the bar of a venue. So you weren't in the venue, but you were one room removed from the concert. That's what it sounded like.
It sounded like skateboarding to me. It sounded like something I would listen to when I was in a lot of pain, trying to do something that I couldn't do and almost breaking my legs.
Oh, you mean physical pain?
Physical pain.
Physical pain, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the kind of music I used to put on. And hey, everybody, watch this. Watch what I can do. Yeah, not so good.
Never had that problem. I knew before I set foot on a four-wheel device, I had no business standing on something with wheels. I could sit on a bicycle. That was okay. But standing on a skateboard, I knew, no, that's just not going to be me.
Yeah,
I saved myself lots of medical bills.
The summer, my 8th grade and 9th grade years, I just basically lived with bandages on all summer long because
bandages.
I was a horrible, horrible skateboarder, but I loved it. So anyway, well, we can't do an 80s show without playing some hair metal, can we?
No.
That's right. So it's time to put on your spandex. We're going to go there, but I'm not going to go all the way to L.A. Instead, I found you a glam metal band from the glammiest
Sacramento?
of places, Chicago.
Ooh, no.
Yeah, you don't really think of glam metal.
No, I
in
think
Chicago.
of pizza.
Yeah.
Lakefront,
Think
Miracle
of
Mile.
aggro Chicago music. But that is not what we're going to listen to right here. This is truly glam metal from Chicago. This is a band called Barracuda.
That's a great hair metal name. That is great. I mean, they already had the publicity from Heart's song Barracuda right before them.
Well, all three of these are slam dunk. The name of the band, the song title, and the album title. So Barracuda, their album is called Open Fire.
Oh, God, yeah. Yes.
And the name of this song is In the City.
That's more Joe Walsh. In the city.
I don't know. It seemed like every hair band had to sing about the city or
Heading to the
life
city.
on the streets.
Life on the street. Well, yeah,
What-
Guns N'
whatever.
Roses even.
Out on the streets.
Welcome to the Jungle, yeah.
So their debut album came out in '89. They had a couple of videos on MTV, and that was kind of it. But I do believe they re-released this entire album under a different name, different title, Keep Me in Your Heart, in 2003. The same exact songs. Different cover, different name.
Bless their hearts.
Same exact songs. And that's what we have from Barracuda. I think they did have one more thing, but it was also included some of the same songs. So they really, really like this album. And this came out on, let's see, I believe it was one of the majors. So they obviously had gotten their tapes back, and then they re-released it and tried to make some money.
Made a little cash.
So anyway, let's go with Barracuda. Let's see what hair metal sounded like from Chicago. Deep Dish.
All the city lights are burning bright, breaking out.
that song should be immortalized in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as the template for how to write a hair metal pop song.
Right? It's perfectly hair metal
Perfect.
crafted.
The arrangement, verse, chorus,
The guitar playing.
repeat the chorus, shredding guitar solo, break, repeat the chorus 3 more times as you solo over the top of it. Done. I just wrote a hit hairband song right there.
Well, they left 2 key ingredients out.
What's
Just
that?
2 things. A key change at the end.
Oh, yeah. Step it up a notch.
Step it up. And also, there was no cowbell. Probably should have thrown a cowbell at some point.
It was probably buried in the mix, but it was in there somewhere.
I dig it.
There's nothing to not like about that song.
It's a perfect hair metal song.
It is perfect. It's glorious. I mean, with 2 guitars and some guitar harmonies in it, or you throw that's just icing on the cake. It's not required. They hit all the high points.
Yeah, I was
high
thrusting
notes.
my pelvis.
Were
I
you
got to tell
thrusting?
you, I was thrusting over here.
Okay, I wasn't paying attention.
So yeah, I was doing it. I had to, I had my fist in the air.
Yeah.
I was putting on a fingerless glove. I was ready to go.
Oh my God, my mullet was growing out. I
Yeah,
could feel it growing
that is
as
full
that
on
song.
mullet. That is full on
Mullet rock.
music. That is mullet rock, and I like it.
I like it too.
I remember discovering that band the way that I discovered several bands back then. We didn't have the internet, so I used to get Hit Parader magazine and Circus magazine at my local Food Lion. My mom and I would go to get groceries. I would help her with the groceries, and I would always manage to get a magazine at least out of it.
So your town wasn't big enough for a Publix or
No.
a Kroger.
We didn't have either of those.
Yeah.
We had Winn-Dixie. So
We
this
had
is
Winn-Dixie.
the deep
That was it.
south.
Yeah.
Deep south. So you have your regional large grocery chains. Food Lion was out of Charlotte, and Bilo was out of Greenville, South Carolina. So those
Okay.
are local.
Yeah.
And then we had Winn-Dixie. Oh, and the Piggly Wiggly.
Piggly Wiggly. I was gonna say, you had made it big when you got a Winn-Dixie and you didn't have to go to the Piggly Wiggly.
Yeah.
That was usually on the bad side of town.
People listening to this are like, what the hell are they talking about?
Oh, there's people that know. But if you don't know, you should have gone to these grocery stores because they were classic Southern grocery stores where you could buy all kinds of things that you can't find in other grocery stores. I won't even mention on the air here, but yeah, it's good stuff.
Lots of pickled things.
Pickled things and feet and
Yep.
things in jars.
But anyway, I used to get these magazines, and there would always be these small kind of quarter-page ads at the end of the magazines. You know, they sell the ads at the end, and Barracuda was one of the bands that I remember reading or seeing their ad for this album. Because they were on I don't remember what major they were on, but they didn't get a major push. And it came out in 89. So what I used to do is I had this poster board that was on my door of my room, and I would copy the logo, because I always loved doing logos. And I would draw the logo of all these bands that I would see in the magazine or that I had records of. And I remember putting Barracuda on that poster. Mm-hmm. And that's how I just always remembered that name, and eventually I got the album.
That was your intro to graphic design right there.
Pretty much, yeah. That was my fascination with logos and band logos. So that's where Barracuda came from for me, and it paid off because I really dig that band. I'm not really sure why they didn't get more. I guess because it came out in 89, and after that, everything had changed. So.
Yeah, we know the story.
I'm going to play another song from a band in 1989 next, and I'm breaking our rules just a little bit.
Ooh, breaking
the rules.
Breaking the rules.
This is a super group that formed in 1988. This album sold for shit. It just did not do well. And it's sort of infamous for doing this. But it totally revived the career for the man who's singing in this band. And it's let me just give you the other guys' names first. So the rhythm section is a brother duo that at one point played with Iggy Pop, okay? The guitarist is an eccentric guitarist by the name of Reeves Gabrel, and the rock star who kind of made his comeback by being in this band, going from being a pop musician to being back in rock, is none other than Mr. David Bowie.
Really?
So the band I'm talking about, and this is the only time that David Bowie was in a band, this band is called Tin Machine. And they put out 2 albums. And the first one came out in 1989. It's just called Tin Machine. And this really did revive Bowie's career because if you remember, David Bowie had gone very pop in the 80s.
Yeah.
He was not the eccentric, crazy artist that he was. Art rock guy, yeah. So he had been a rocker, he'd been a glam rocker, and then he went really arty and did all the kind of German albums, whatever they call those, and did really arty stuff. And then he got really poppy and got very big.
And brought in Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Yep. brought in Stevie Ray and had a huge hit, and then did another couple of so-so albums in the 80s that were very poppy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when he got together with Reeves Gabrels, he decided it was time to go back to the rock and do something that was a little more modern for the time. And really, this is kind of a precursor again to alternative. It's kind of a look at what was to come in the 90s. So it came out in 89, and it did horrible. It sold nothing. I remember seeing them on Saturday Night Live. I remember seeing them on Arsenio Hall, if you remember the Arsenio Hall show. But even with all of that exposure, with having David Bowie as your lead singer, this album sold crap. It just did bad. So, Bad to Bowie is probably still going platinum, but still,
Right,
it did not do what they thought. And so they did 2 albums and they were out. That was it. But it's the only time David Bowie was ever in a band. I really dig it. I mention it and you don't even remember it, right? So,
I remember it, but I didn't remember that it sold like crap.
Oh, it was, yeah.
I just assumed everything that he did was magnificent.
Nope, it was a pretty big flop. Anyway, I'm going to play the title song from the album. So this is Tin Machine, playing the song Tin Machine off the album Tin Machine.
Tin machine, take me anywhere. Somewhere without alcohol or booze with muddy hair. Tin machine, tin machine, the zombies never pass. The guy that beats his baby up, the preachers and their ass. Tin machine, tin machine. Baby don't, clarity is rare. There's more than money moving here, there's miners maggot glare. Working force, humming Tories, spittle on their cheeks. Carving up my children's future, freedom, Alan Green. Raging, burning in my room. Come on and get a good idea, come on and get it soon. I'm waiting on the final script, I'm not exactly well. I'm neither red or black or white, I'm ready to blow to hell. Tin machine, like some new computer thing that puts me on the moon. Not this side of time on planet poisoning its makeup. Shake the leg. Tin machine, one sick deathless duty to remain endangered species. They reach right out to touch someone and wash their crusty hands. Tin machine. Baby doll, loose weight, tuneless wonders, mass confusion, faithless blues, night disputes and watchmen, popping up another fortune, fractured words, bring the sonic anger, trapped behind the doors and right between the eyes. Raging, burning in my room. Come on and get a good idea, come on and get it soon. I'm waiting on the fire escape, not exactly well. I'm neither red or black or white, I'm ready to go to hell. Tin machine. Tin machine, take me anywhere.
I love that song. I love that song for several reasons. One of them is it has the perfect amount of weirdness. Like it nailed the exact amount of weirdness that I like in a song. I mean, hair metal, that's why I don't really get into hair metal. I like it. It's fun. It's in the background sometimes, but there's no weirdness in that. I mean, the weirdness comes from it being overly cheesy sometimes. You're like, what the hell are you thinking? But the guitar weirdness in the middle.
Do you know what that was? What he's doing to make those weird sounds?
No, just...
He's playing it with a dildo.
I had all these things going through my head of what you were going to say. I'm like, nope, that was not one of them.
Yeah.
Nope. God. And the second thing that I love this is I could totally picture Lemmy covering that song, and that would have been Tin Machine. Yeah, but like everything else is the same. Like that, the music was his level of just balls to the wall, not distorted, but still just, it just comes out and hits you in the face and keeps hitting you in the face. Doesn't stop till the end of the song. Like there's no tempo changes or crescendos. It just goes.
There's another couple of cool things. So the drummer, I mentioned they were brothers. So it was Hunt Sales and Tony Sales. They are the sons of Soupy Sales.
I'm old enough to know the name. I don't know what he was famous for. But
yeah, kind of back in the day. But anyway, those were his sons, and they worked with Bowie when he produced Iggy Pop in the late 70s.
Okay.
And they were Iggy Pop's rhythm section and toured. Bowie actually played with Iggy's band.
God, those guys have some stories.
So I'm sure they have some amazing stories, but crazy dudes. And then Reeves, like I said, his guitar playing, I mean, he was playing with a dildo on that song. So crazy. The other cool thing is they would dress pretty much, they look like the guys from Reservoir Dogs. So they would wear the black suits, and they're playing this music, and it's just that, they look like they're from the 40s, but they're playing this music that's really aggressive, and Bowie's, and they look all uniform. They're all wearing the suits.
And it's
really cool.
It's not rockabilly. It's kind of got some of that sensibility to it.
It can get pretty heavy, though.
But that particular song was just edgier, and I totally understand why it sold for shit in 1989.
Yeah.
Because once again, David Bowie was ahead of the game, seeing into the future that 4 years later, or whenever, at a later date, that would have been appreciated. But looking back, I appreciate that.
He was once again exposing something that is to come.
Innovating.
Yeah. I think there's a video for this song. I don't remember if it's this song or another one, but in the video, they're wearing the suits, and it's basically all kids in this hall, and they're wearing the suits and looking the part of just being very neat and cool. And all the kids are slam dancing around them and jumping off the stage and doing all. It's kind of like that, almost like Teen Spirit. In a way.
That's what I was going to say. You got high school kids hanging out in the
almost
bleachers.
Like Teen Spirit, but 89.
89.
So anyway, I love that album, and I love the second album too. The second album's a little bit bluesier, has some weirdness to it as well, but you probably dig it.
I need that first one though. I need to go buy that.
Yeah, well,
or let me copy it.
Back in the day, we can do that. Back in the day, I found that thing in the cutout bin the same year it came out.
Oh,
that's how bad it did.
It went straight
to the cutout bin. So if you don't know what that is, back in the day, they would put a little notch. Either they would drill a hole through the corner, or they would put a notch in the corner of the album or the tape or the CD, and that's how they would, company selling it, the store would know that it's a discounted item, basically. And those are called cutouts. And so they put those in the bin, sell for $4 or whatever. And usually you would get things that were anywhere from 5 to 10 years older, and they're just trying to get rid of inventory.
Well, that's all the albums I've got in the other room
exactly.
that are framed.
They have notches on them.
I'll have to go back and look. They're in a frame, but maybe I can see if they've got notches, because they're all $1.25 each.
But you knew your album was not doing well when you were in the cutout bin the same year that it came out. Yeah, that means the record company shipped way too many copies that they couldn't sell.
You need a coaster? We got coasters.
So that's Tin Machine for you. Okay, let's go to a German/American rock band. And this kind of teeters in the area of new wave kind of rock. Came out in 86, so new wave was kind of dying out a little bit, but it was that in between, not quite alternative, not quite hard rock, I don't know what you call it, but that was kind of the time of that kind of music. And this is a duo, so there weren't that many duos back then. It was kind of either you were in a band or it was a guy or a girl, it was... But this is a duo. I can only think of, was it Simply Red that was a duo?
Swing Out Sisters?
Thompson Twins? I don't know. It was one of those.
Cocteau Twins?
Oh, I know Tears for Fears. That was a duo.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So this was kind of like that.
Wham.
Sure.
Curveball. Wham.
Yeah, wham. Oh, boy. Anyway, it's a duo featuring a guy named Bruce Gowdy, and the singer's name is Lenny Wolf. No? Not ringing a bell?
Nah.
All right. So they released 2 albums on MCA, 84 and 86. Didn't sell that well. Critics liked them, but they didn't sell that well. And so the guys split and went on to be in hair bands. And they did much better when they went to the hair bands.
Got more chicks.
And Lenny formed a hair band that is pretty infamous called Kingdom Come.
Yeah.
All right. And then Gowdy went on to a band that's not quite as famous, but they've been around a long time, called Unruly Child. So anyway, I'm going to play a song from this band's 86 album, and this is a song that Kingdom Come would later put on one of their albums. They put it on their 3rd album. The song's called Stay. The name of the band is Stone Fury. And it sounds very metal hard rock, but they were not. The interesting thing is they put out this song called Stay, and then when Kingdom Come put it out on their 1991 album, Hands of Time, it was more bluesed up and more slick and hairband, set for a hairband. So it's interesting if you go check out the Kingdom Come version. But I'm going to play the Stone Fury version. I actually think Stone Fury was pretty cool. Again, it's in between new wave and in between rock. Check it out.
How long exactly do we need to stay? Because I got to go. I got this thing I got to do.
They wear out his welcome on you?
Yeah, not the music, the...
It's Lenny, man. He was doing his Robert Plant.
No, that was a poor attempt at a Robert Plant. Robert Plant could nail that and would sound wonderful, and that was just grating on my ear nerves.
Yeah, I saw you do a little twist.
Yeah, it's just, wow, it just comes out of nowhere, and it's not pleasant. It's just it's like, it reminds me of somebody I dated that when they were mad, their voice would go up into the stratosphere, and I couldn't understand what they're saying, but I knew they were mad. And so I think it's just triggering me knowing that somebody's upset with me. I don't know what was wrong, but I know I just need to apologize for something.
So I'm not adding Stone Fury to the playlist.
No, let's not
all right.
do that. Maybe if they have instrumentals, maybe.
Okay, well, then we're going to move on. And in 1985, I remember going to my cousin's house in August, right before school started, to spend a week with him. And I remember there was a horror movie out called Return of the Living Dead that I really, really wanted to see.
Nice, wholesome movie.
And his mom wouldn't let us because we weren't quite old enough to go.
Your voice was still up here.
But by the time October comes around, that bad boy's on HBO. And I see it with my friend Connor Tyndall. We stay up late and we watch Return of the Living Dead. I absolutely loved it.
Was yours not scrambled?
No.
You had real HBO?
No, we had to put a code in. It was scrambled. Back then, you had to put the code in. So your parents, there was remember it was a brown box and it had a keypad on the top with the red letters.
Oh, no, we didn't have that.
Oh, yeah, that's what we had. You had to put the code in to watch a movie.
Oh, no.
And my mom put in the code because it was Halloween night and she let us watch the movie. And it freaked us out and we loved it at the same time. But it had a kick-ass, really, really kick-ass soundtrack. And it was kind of punk rock. TSOL's on it. Some of the skate bands that I loved at the time were on it. I think I'm around 8th grade, 7th grade, somewhere around there. And this band, 45 Grave, were on there. And they sort of had the theme song for that particular movie, Party Time. Anyway, I'm not playing that song, but I am going to play something from the album that band put out in 1983 where they actually pulled that song from. So the album came out years before the movie was released. But this is a goth horror punk band, so they were perfectly made for that soundtrack, and I'm sure that's why they got picked. And it features several members of the second wave of LA punk bands. It's sort of a super group. So they're members from the Germs and the Bags and the Gun Club, which were all they were famous for that scene in LA when punk was getting big. And the lead singer, you gotta love her punk rock name. One of the best. I thought Stiff Baders was good. This was one of the best punk rock names I've ever heard. Her name is Dinah Cancer. Awesome.
Ms. Cancer?
Yeah.
Ms. Cancer. Your table for 4 is ready?
Dinah Cancer.
Dinah Cancer.
It's very tongue-in-cheek horror music set to kind of, it's punk, but it's not. It's more gothy rock, I guess you could say, but I love it. I think they had a big comeback with Return of the Living Dead soundtrack, but they've only released 2 albums in their entire existence, and the second album didn't come out until 2012. So
don't rush it.
They weren't really able to capitalize on the movie. But I'm going to play some 45 Grave. This is another single. They only had 2 singles on that album that I'm aware of, and I think there's even a video for this, but it's called Evil.
Evil.
spooky B-52s.
Pretty much, yeah. An awesome bass guitar and guitar work. Really good. That band was
Horror music you can dance to.
something to add to your Halloween playlist.
I like that. Actually, that's a good idea because the typical stuff is so dated.
Yep, absolutely. 45 Grave. I dug them. I liked them back then.
You dug you get that?
Yeah, I did take 40. Yeah, I got it. I see what you did there. Okay, Robert, I have one more 80s song
I'm out
for
of
you.
beer.
One more piece of nostalgia. Do you need a
No, I got just enough for this one song.
Okay. Well, you're going to need a lot of it for this song. You might want to go get a new one. Okay. We have talked about it before, and tonight we're going to go there.
Oh, no.
This is a German band formed in 1976. They're a metal band. Their first two releases were very typical satanic occult-based metal stuff. Blah, blah, blah. Typical metal, you know.
Summoning up demons.
But then they switched on their third album, and we're going to play from that third album, and it set the path for
Straight
a new
and narrow?
genre.
Ooh.
A genre called pirate metal.
Oh, yes.
This is Running Wild,
Yar.
and the name of the album is Under Jolly Roger. It came out in 1987, and this one song set their whole career down the path of creating a new genre called pirate metal. So they wrote this song. It was just going to be on their third album, and then they decided, well, let's make the whole theme all pirate in the artwork. Make it pirate, and it just went over really well.
Does one of them wear an eye patch?
And so 16 albums later, here we are today. They released their last album, I think, in
Very productive pirates.
just a few years ago. But they started a whole genre. There are other pirate metal bands out there because of this one song.
And of all people, I have access to a pirate ship with a kick-ass sound system on it.
And you've never heard pirate metal.
And because we're the funk pirates, so we were primarily playing funk music, but like retro 70s pirates. But yeah, for people that don't know, I actually served aboard a pirate ship for several years and occasionally do come out of retirement as the doorman. I am the one that allows people on or keeps them from coming aboard, depending on their character and how good looking they are.
Did you ask people what their favorite letter was? R.
Yes, I do.
What's your favorite word? R.
R.
Okay, come on board.
There have been a few pirate jokes. Mostly it's like, yeah, you're hot. Get on board.
Well, sir, it is time to listen to Under Jolly Roger from Running Wild, 1987, pirate metal.
Ship ahoy! Three-mast the middle off the starboard bow! Man the cannons! Fire!
you say this was their first pirate song?
It's their first pirate song.
And that's what started the whole.
Started the whole thing.
They realized they had something, and I love that. I love I love the song. I love the idea, the concept that like, let's write a song about pirates. Okay, wait a minute.
This is great.
This is the best thing ever. And do they dress the part on stage?
Sort of.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have to go all cliche with it.
They don't have fake hooks.
No. I mean, like I said, we were more
Peg
like
legs.
70s disco pirates, so we dressed that part.
Yeah,
but
no, they do.
awesome. And they're not. Are they the only band in the pirate?
No. There's another band called Ale Storm, which are really good. There's quite a few others. There's some that are even more like folky, like they play traditional, folky style pirate stuff with guitars.
Yeah.
But
Maybe.
most of them are power metal.
Yeah. No, the power metal
to-
stuff. Yeah.
set to
This is
pirate.
what you clean the house to. Like, you can't play that song and not sit there and go, you know what? That's it. I'm moving the furniture, swiffering these floors.
Well, we had to do it. We've talked about it a long time.
I'm going to have to introduce my fellow shipmates to this and see if they want to
think you
throw that
should.
on once in a while. Captain Ryan, Captain John. We'll see.
Captain Jack.
That's what we drink.
Well, that's what I have for you, man.
Awesome.
Little trip down memory lane, maybe, or
Nice
at least
sweaty memories.
down the decade
Hot,
that
sweaty memories.
we're hot and sweaty, but we were free.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, those days are gone. And on that note,
Speak for yourself. I'm regressing as fast as I can.
all right, man. We're gonna get out of here. Later,
ya.
people.